When somebody stops paying for a $30 million airplane, the bank doesn't just send a strongly worded letter. They send a repo man. Meet Nick Popovich. Over the course of nearly 40 years, Popovich has made a career out of repossessing aircraft. Everything from single-engine Cessnas to multi-million-dollar private jets. Even on one occasion, an entire fleet of helicopters in a single operation. Then there's Ken Hill. Over 23 years and roughly 13,000 miles of flying, Hill claims to have repossessed more than 3,000 airplanes, from small prop planes in Chicago to jumbo jets grounded in Mumbai, India. Now, if you've ever seen the Discovery Channel show Airplane Repo, you probably picture something dramatic. Fistfights on the runway, high-speed chases in a Learjet, angry owners pulling guns. The reality, way less cinematic. Hill has said that in the vast majority of cases, the owner already knows he's coming. The bank has sent 3 notices by the time Hill shows up. It's less Fast and Furious and more awkward divorce. That said, the job isn't exactly safe. The American Recovery Association reports an average of 2 repo agents die on the job every year across all industries. Hill himself has had his kneecap shattered, been confronted by drug runners, and once got chased by a woman swinging a garden rake. Yeah, a garden rake. If you want to understand just how fast the private jet dream can collapse, look at 2008. When the financial crisis hit, the private jet market cratered. From a peak of 1,313 business jets delivered worldwide in 2008, total shipments collapsed 42% over the following 2 years. By 2010, only 764 jets were delivered, valued at around $18 billion. Manufacturers like Cessna and Hawker Beechcraft laid off half their workforce. Around 20,000 jobs vanished across the industry. And it wasn't just new sales that tanked. Across Europe, the percentage of active business aircraft listed for sale doubled in a single year, jumping from 6% in December 2007 to nearly 13% by the end of 2008. The average used jet was worth about $16 million, and owners were dumping them just to raise cash. Popovich was busier than ever. He performed 30 repossessions of turboprop and jet aircraft in just the last 6 months of 2009 alone, and turned down another 12 to 15 clients. He actually started warning banks not to repossess because the planes were worth less than what it would cost to store and maintain them until the market recovered. A lot of owners chose to simply walk away from their aircraft. Logbooks disappeared. Maintenance records vanished. One Hawker 800 corporate jet that Popovich repossessed had deteriorated so badly it had to be scrapped entirely. But the most famous private jet embarrassment in history didn't involve a repo man at all. It involved 3 CEOs, a congressional hearing, and the worst PR decision in modern corporate history. In November 2008, with the auto industry on the verge of collapse, the CEOs of GM, Ford, and Chrysler flew to Washington to beg Congress for a $25 billion taxpayer bailout. They needed the money to avoid bankruptcy. Hundreds of thousands of American jobs were on the line. So how did these 3 men, who were about to tell Congress their companies were running out of cash, travel to Washington? Each one flew in on a separate corporate jet. Rick Wagoner arrived on GM's $36 million Gulfstream 4. The round-trip flight cost roughly $20,000. A commercial ticket for the same route? About $500. Congressman Gary Ackerman summed it up perfectly. There is a delicious irony in seeing private luxury jets flying into Washington and people coming off of them with tin cups in their hand. It's like seeing a guy show up at a soup kitchen in high hat and tuxedo. Senator Brad Sherman asked all 3 CEOs to raise their hands if they'd flown commercial. Nobody raised a hand. Sherman turned to the cameras and said, "Let the record show that no hands went up." The backlash was immediate and brutal. GM scrambled to announce it would ground 2 of its 5 private jets. Days later, Wagner's spokesperson told reporters, "We've gotten the message." When the CEOs came back to Washington a few weeks later to ask for an even larger bailout of $34 billion, they drove hybrid vehicles. The jets stayed home. The auto executives learned their lesson. But for some celebrities, losing the jet isn't a PR problem, it's a financial one. Take Lenny Dykstra. The former Philadelphia Phillies outfielder once had a Gulfstream jet, a sprawling mansion, and a magazine called The Players Club. By 2009, he was filing for bankruptcy. His creditors repossessed the Gulfstream, and Dykstra filed papers in U.S. bankruptcy court demanding they give it back, claiming a judge had granted an automatic stay on his assets. He even demanded an $800,000 check on top of it. The president of one of the creditor companies responded to TMZ, "It's not his airplane. I don't know if he is confused." Then there's Floyd Mayweather, the man who literally calls himself money. Mayweather earned over $1.2 billion across his boxing career. But as of 2026, reports indicate he's sold his private jet along with mansions in Beverly Hills and Miami just to raise cash. The IRS hit him with a $7.3 million tax lien for unpaid taxes from 2018 to 2023. A private jet company called Jet Set Aircraft sued him over an unpaid $105,690 charter flight to Turks and Caicos. Jewelers are suing over millions in unpaid watch and chain bills. His checks for luxury items were allegedly bouncing. And through all of it, Mayweather kept posting photos on Instagram sitting on private jets surrounded by stacks of cash, captioned, "I just be minding my business." Even Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton ran into jet-related trouble, though of a different kind. In 2017, the Paradise Papers leak revealed that Hamilton's $27 million candy apple red Bombardier Challenger 605 was at the center of a VAT avoidance scheme. Through a web of shell companies in the Isle of Man, he allegedly received a $5.2 million tax refund on the plane. Hamilton later sold the jet entirely, citing environmental concerns. Convenient timing. So what actually happens to these jets after they're repossessed? Some get resold. If the plane's been maintained properly and the books are clean, a bank can auction it off or sell it through a broker. A used Gulfstream G55 might fetch $15 to $25 million depending on condition and hours. But the ones that were neglected, where the owners walked away and let the maintenance lapse, those end up in boneyards. Desert lots in Arizona and New Mexico where hundreds of aircraft sit baking in the sun, slowly being stripped for parts. This is why the smartest billionaires don't own. They charter or use fractional ownership. Because the only thing more expensive than a jet that's flying is a jet that's sitting still. It's the ultimate indignity. A machine built to carry billionaires across oceans, reduced to spare parts worth less than a used pickup truck. At the end of the day, a private jet is just a very expensive way to prove something. And when the money stops flowing, that proof disappears faster than the vapor trail behind it. The purchase price is just the cover charge. The real cost is everything that comes after. And for the people who forget that, well, there's always a guy with a flashlight and a set of keys waiting on the tarmac. If you want to see another story about what happens when the rich and famous run out of money, that video is on screen right now.